This is Tuning Into Sci-Fi TV, the viewer's guide to genre television for the weeks of November 1st to November 21st, 2025.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I'm Wendy Hembrock.
I'm Brent Barrett.
And I'm Kevin Batchelder.
And we are happy to be back talking with you. Since we last talked, we hope you've also dropped by our Discord. We've had polls running there, of course, and other conversations. The latest poll that we just finished out was asking about your exposure to The Witcher, and almost 40% of folks have watched some of it, but not all of it. And I think coming in around second was people with who've watched all of it. So it looks like we have pretty good coverage on The Witcher. And would love to hear folks' thoughts.
Yeah, and if you add up all of the ones that indicated that they'd seen at least some of the show, that's 87% of our listeners. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was pretty high.
It's definitely popular, which we kind of knew, right, from both books and game, that it was popular. And I'm sure Henry Cavill was part of the draw initially to that show. It certainly was for me. Because I was not familiar with either the game or the books. We also have a giveaway running. We have a very generous listener, Doug, who has donated Farscape, the complete series, along with the Peacekeeper Wars, all on DVD. Seasons 1, 3, and 4 are box sets. Season 2 is the Slim Anniversary Edition set, which those ones are super cool. If you aren't already on Discord, join and check out the contest channel for how to enter. It is available only to U.S. addresses. And again, we thank Doug for his generosity. And the deadline to enter is December 5th.
Yeah, it's a great show. And I'm pretty sure since these are the DVDs, they probably have the commentaries and the behind-the-scenes stuff, the bonus material. I hope.
Yeah, be a great thing to have if you don't have it, folks. So well worth taking a quick moment and jumping in and entering there on Discord.
Absolutely. So let's get started talking about shows, and we're going to head on over now to the water cooler.
Hi everyone, Mark Decote here from Solo Talk Media with an exciting announcement. I have a new podcast covering the Amazon Prime show, The Rings of Power. Aptly titled, The Rings of Power Podcast, Tales from Middle-earth. Now, if you're not familiar with any of my previous podcasts that covered TV shows like Under the Dome, Orphan Black, Killjoys, and most recently, The Expanse, let me tell you that a Solo Talk Media podcast is not like any other TV fan podcast you'll listen to. On a Solo Talk Media podcast, you're not a fly on the wall listening to multiple hosts converse about a TV show. No, I bring you into the conversation. Each week, fans like you submit recorded feedback about the television episode they just watched. Think of it as your podcast water cooler. Listeners from my previous podcast describe them as a community of fans. They tune in each week to hear what people, just like themselves, think about the shows they love. Many of them have expressed how listening to Solo Talk Media enhances their enjoyment of the TV show, often picking up on nuances of the show they missed during their viewing. So if you plan on watching The Rings of Power on Amazon and you want a different podcasting experience to expand your viewing enjoyment, visit theringsofpowerpodcast.com or search for The Rings of Power Podcast, Tales from Middle-earth, wherever you listen to podcasts, and be sure to follow the show. Once again, that's The Rings of Power Podcast, Tales from Middle-earth. I'm Mark Decote, wishing you all the best. Take care.
First up, we're going to do quick reviews for shows we think you should watch now, soon, let sit, or skip. And we're covering most of November 1st to the 21st, which wasn't actually that many shows. We had Ghost Season 5, Episode 4, Bring Your Daughter to Work Day, Episode 5, T-Daddy, and Episode 6, Planes, Chains, and Automobiles. I will give them all a high watch it soon.
I'm going to get a little pickier. I'm going to say the first one was a high watch it soon. The second two, just a watch it soon, but still good.
Yeah, I'll go watch it soon, low watch it soon, then watch it soon.
And we also had the premiere on Apple TV Plus of Pluribus, Season 1, Episode 1, We Is Us, Episode 2, Pirate Lady, Episode 3, Grenade, and Episode 4, Please, Carol. I'm going to give these all a watch it soon.
Well, I did take Amazon Prime up on that discounted 6 months of Apple TV Plus. Thank you, Kevin, for sharing that. I have not had a chance to watch this yet.
Yeah, for me, I am really digging this show. I'll go high watch it soon, low watch it now, and then 2 high watch it soons.
And we will be discussing that in the back porch. But first, we're going to talk about some news. And Brent has some very exciting news about the Stargate universe.
Yes, the Stargate universe is coming back. The new showrunner, Martin Giro, I don't know how to pronounce his name, he is announcing, and here's a video here in our links, that the show is coming back. It's been confirmed. They're early in the stages. They don't know cast and all of that stuff yet, or exactly where it's said in that much. But it is going to be a continuation. It is not a reboot. It is a continuation. Therefore, as some of the fans who were on the call as well kind of asked the question, there is a possibility that we might see some characters or actors from the previous Stargate universe productions. Of course, it's way too early to know any of that, but I think everybody has their favorites of who they want to appear. I kind of want to see Sam Carter, what she's up to, but there's others, Teal'c and such that we might see. So here's hoping.
Yeah, Stargate's a show. I didn't watch a ton of it. I did get into Universe there when that one was out, but the other one I watched here and there. But certainly I know there's tons of fans, and it was great to see. Anytime a show like this is going to be brought back, you've got some of the folks who are involved in it doing it. I love that they did this video that included 2 of the folks from the popular fan sites that have been supporting the show for years and years, to include them. Anytime we get fans being involved and stuff like that, we here really appreciate that. So this was just really fun to see.
This was really nice to see. I did watch Stargate. SG-1, I watched pretty much all of it. I watched the beginning of Atlantis, and then I definitely fell off, and I watched all of Universe. It'll be very interesting to see what the premise of this show is, meaning, are we going to have anybody related to any of the characters from the prior iterations? If there's going to be any tie-ins at all, or if it's literally just going to start up with a whole brand new Scooby Gang jumping through the wormhole, jumping through. And as Brent mentioned, there's definitely characters I would like to see again. Sam Carter and Teal'c would be very high in my list. As well as actually, Jason Momoa got his start on Atlantis, and I would love it to see him. I'm not actually sure if he's alive, if his character's alive, though, because I didn't finish watching Atlantis. But this is going to be really interesting. It's coming to Amazon Prime. Stargate had some very interesting tonal changes throughout its run. Martin Giro was heavily involved in the late seasons of the show, so he's definitely familiar with all the continuity. And so I'm gonna be positive that it'll, feel like, sound like, look like Stargate, but maybe have some new wrinkles in it. One thing I always did like about Stargate was it had an element of humor in it. And who knows, we might see some Claudia Black or Ben
Browder.
In the Browder, yeah, in the future version as well. That'd be really interesting. But like I said, I'm definitely a fan of the original folks. So Sam Carter for sure is one I would like to see.
And fans of the Stargate universe are, not just the show, but the whole universe, are excited. As was hinted at, the bringing in Brad Wright, who was one of the co-creators, and Joe Malazzi, who was an executive producer and writer on all of the shows. Bringing them in as consulting producers is a good sign. That just means to us that I think the new showrunners want to respect what came before and keep a continuity, which is good. But the fact that they're consulting producers, don't get your hopes up too much. They're not going to have like creative control over it, but they are being included, which is good.
Well, Brad Wright's definitely one that I'm happy will be involved. Joe Malazzi, I did not love, mostly because I didn't love how he interacted with fans necessarily, but that was back in like season 7, season 8 of Stargate. So hopefully he's learned a little bit more about how to deal with online fandom in the, however many years it's been since that was.
Since 2011.
So, yeah, it's definitely been a while. So let's move on to another show that feels like it's been around about as long as Stargate. We're going to talk a little bit about the Game of Thrones universe. First up, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which season 1 is set to premiere early in 2026, has been renewed for a season 2 ahead of that premiere. And I'm sure we'll have a discussion about how this was planned, because HBO has basically announced its plans for the next several years of both The Night of the Seven Kingdoms as well as House of the Dragon. House of the Dragon had already been renewed we're waiting for season 3, which will be coming in the summer of 2026, and season 4 has been renewed. That was generally understood to be the plan from Ryan Condal, who had said that the show would focus primarily on Rhaenyra's reign in the overall war that's happening. But there is more story. So who knows? Sounds like HBO might get greedy and go for season 5. That might go beyond that timeline, which there's more story beyond that timeline. But if they do, that would not be for quite a while. Season 4 of House of the Dragon is greenlit for 2028. And season 2 of Night of the Seven Kingdoms would come out in 2027. And Night of the Seven Kingdoms is just, I want to say 6 or 8 episodes. Hopefully House of the Dragon sticks with 8, but we'll see. They might all get winnowed down as we continue. But there is going to be more. And folks are familiar with our Small Council Matters podcast. We will be discussing Night of the Seven Kingdoms when season 1 premieres.
Very cool. I'm looking forward to hearing you guys talk about that. That is a show, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, that I think I want to check out. But yeah, great news all around for fans of the George R. Martin universe.
Yeah, I think it's very smart the way they've laid it out, alternating years, kind of, a few seasons already planned, renewed for, kind of letting fans know, sit back, get into the stories, know you're going to have a while to talk about them. So awesome for folks who are big fans. I'm waiting to, taste some of this stuff. I haven't really watched either. Well, only one of them's even out there so far, but I haven't bothered to get in. I must admit, I'm one of those folks that's kind of like, okay, there's going to be a few seasons. Maybe it's worth taking a look.
Well, House of the Dragon season 3 definitely should be take the whole war to the next level, is my understanding. And season 2, I thought, really did a good job in a lot of ways with that. But it also experimented with some things that not everybody loved. And it is changed from the books. And the Night of the Seven Kingdoms is tonally going to be different in the article that's in the show notes. The showrunner does talk about that. It's a kind of a lighter world. It's some of the sort of I don't call sea stories that maybe were happening in Game of Thrones, where you think about Jaime and Brienne and Podrick. It's about the night culture, the tournament culture. So there's opportunities for lots of blood and violence, but also drinking and hijinks. So now let's move on to another show that Kevin and Brent really liked and I haven't seen yet. but Kevin's got news about Alien Earth.
Yeah, the good news we've been waiting for, I would say, that it has been officially renewed for a season 2. I know there was some concern when season 1 ended, and, I definitely enjoyed it. I know Brent did. A lot of folks did, that we didn't get any news either way. But turns out, and link in the show notes as always, folks, that the showrunner, Noah Hawley, was negotiating with FX on a new deal for him. So once that deal was set in stone, they officially renewed it for the season 2. No idea when, number of episodes, anything like that yet, but great to know it's coming back for a season 2. There's like a quick quote from him in there just talking about, without being spoilery, we got to kind of see, what next. So good stuff. Very much interested in what they're going to do. So for those of you maybe who weren't sure or hadn't dabbled into it yet, you're going to have at least 2 seasons.
That is good to know for me. Also that it's going to be the same showrunner. That would be kind of a mixed bag if it was coming back, but not with the same creative folks behind the scenes. So this is exciting news.
I'm sure season 2 is going to have, a small number of episodes, which is fine with me. Season 1 did a great job of packing a lot of story into a short number of episodes. So I'm excited about that. Season 1, for those who don't know, well, maybe Wendy's one of those, although we've talked about it, I think season 1 ended in such a way that it could have been still a very digestible series, just digestible season, where you end it and you just have to use your own imagination of where it goes from there, because they kind of set up a future that they didn't show you in season 1, but season 2 being able to show us that is just really exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
We also got some great news about Monarch, Legacy of Monsters. We have a date finally for season 2, which is going to be coming back in February of 2027. February 27th. And it looks like we're going to have some very interesting monsters entering the chat.
Another show that I plan on watching now that I have Apple TV Plus that I haven't seen yet, but I'm looking forward to it. So this is cool news.
Yeah, this is a show I've been sitting kind of going, when are we going to get some news? When are we going to get some news? So this was wonderful to get not only a teaser, but also the date announcement end of February, still 3 months away, thereabouts. But, like Wendy said, the teaser is letting us see some monsters. And they did an excellent job teasing that and then bringing it in. I don't know if it's in this, particular link, because I think this is video but there was somewhere I saw that they mentioned that, yes, Kurt Russell will be back again. So that's great news to see, because it was wonderful seeing him on screen again. So this is very exciting.
Yeah, we do get a very tiny glimpse of him in this announcement. So he's alive, which makes me very happy as well. So let's move on to some more announcements. Brent's going to share some news about Fallout.
Yeah, that great Fallout series back for season 2. We knew about that. We have an official trailer now, and it's coming pretty soon. But Fallout New Vegas is going to be the new setting if you've ever played the game called Fallout New Vegas. Basically, that's what they're doing, from what I understand. I haven't really played New Vegas, although I've heard a lot about it and read some on it. But this is going to be set in Las Vegas. At least part of it is going to be set in Las Vegas. Lucy is going to team up with our ghoul hero, who admits that the reason he's kept himself alive is, as we kind of figured out, is only to find out what happened to his family, because he really wants to find out what happened to his family. So, we get her former vault mates. We learned that they're still, doing stuff, and her brother, her cousin, all those people are still out there doing stuff. So on December 17th, which is coming right up on Amazon Prime, we're going to start seeing Fallout Season 2, and I personally can't wait. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, me too. Really looking forward to the next season. Really enjoyed Season 1. I'm not going to have time to do a full Season 1 rewatch, but I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye out for some of those good, 10, 15-minute recaps of the season just to refresh myself a bit. So, once we get close to the holidays there, it'd be great to have this one dropped and dive back into that universe.
Yeah, I'm going to need to do a little catch-up myself before we get this one. It's coming soon. And let's move on now to some news Kevin has about Percy Jackson and the Olympians.
I do. Couple of links in the show notes, folks. Percy Jackson kind of snuck up on the three of us, I think, a bit. We were all very pleasantly surprised with how good it was in season 1. So we've been looking forward knowing season 2 is coming, and now we have an official trailer. Nice meaty one, as I like to say, meaning it's like 2.5 minutes long. Get to see the characters, some of the storylines that are playing in, naturally with I don't want to say they're a fairly young castmates. You see the jump in age that occurs between seasons, but great to see them all here. Some epic looking stuff from some of the stuff we saw certainly towards the end of season 1. They're going to be jumping right in season 2. There's also a nice link that we've got in here called Percy Jackson, the Olympians Look Back. And what it is, it's our main leads, each talking a little bit about some of the stuff that's going on in the first season. So it's kind of like a catch-up. It's 9 minutes long. It's not like a detailed catch-up, but if you just want a little recentering of where things were at, it's a very good video there, and it's fun to see them all just kind of playing off of each other.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this. I haven't had a chance to watch the catch-up video yet, but I will ahead of the show. The video for the actual season, though, it reminded me of why I like the show, because it does have, that tween age kind of humor and angst that's not too heavy, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and it has been a while since that first season. I was going to make a joke that Percy's now got a wife and a couple of kids. It's been a while. He's like in his 30s now. But not quite that long.
Not quite.
Not quite. But there's some great
school.
scenes. Yeah. There's some great scenes in here. Bringing back some previous guest stars who played certain gods. It's really cool. Ares, for instance, bringing him back. Really cool. But seeing also Percy's dad again in this trailer, is really awesome. And, realizing that Perseus has got to, use his powers and fight some big bads. All the good stuff that we enjoyed from season 1, and including the camaraderie with his friends. So looking forward to season 2.
Yeah. So a show that we're definitely looking forward to returning is Stranger Things, and the showrunners announced that there's going to be a spin-off that will be of the animated kind called Stranger Things 1985. This is going to be set between season 2 and season 3, and it's intentionally drawn to look like 1985 era cartoons. It's going to premiere in 2027. One thing I didn't hear the showrunners say was who's voicing the characters, if it's going to be the actors from the original series or not. I'm guessing it's not, but pretty exciting for those who might be anticipating disappointment after the end of Stranger Things. This hopefully will cushion the longing after the series wraps up this season. And we also got a sharing, and we'll have a link in the show notes, of the first 5 minutes of season 5, which is going to be the series finale, although it's going to be split into 2 chunks. And that was pretty exciting to see, although I don't want to draw any conclusions just from the first 5 minutes, but definitely excited for the return.
Yeah, it's funny because I just assumed that the cast would be voicing all their characters in the animated one. I didn't think there'd be a reason why they wouldn't, but I guess we'll see. But one of the things I thought was if they are voicing their characters, that's cool because they can do stuff when they were younger and they don't have to worry about what the actors look like now. So that'd be kind of cool. The first 5 minutes, I see why they released it because it really doesn't tell you too much about what's happening or where it's going. It's almost like it feels like a flashback. It's not, but it feels kind of like it is. It's Stranger Things, man. Everybody's on board. Everybody wants to see how this thing wraps up, and I'm right there with them.
Yeah, the animated version that's coming looked interesting. Like you said, Wendy, making it look like stuff that was from that era. I'll probably at least give it a check, take a look, even, because I'm such a big Stranger Things fan, to see where that goes. So that was cool. And the first 5 minutes of the upcoming season 5, the opening 5 minutes. So I'm betting that is a flashback, but we'll just leave it at that. We'll all wait and see what we get here in just a matter of days from when we're recording this podcast. So years in the making. Yay, I finished my rewatch. So very excited here to be jumping into it just before Thanksgiving holiday here in the U.S.
I want to follow up with a little bit of information. I don't know how, we all know IMDb is not necessarily truthful. It has issues, but it is showing that the voice cast will be a mix. There will be some, it looks like possibly characters voiced by their original actors, but others definitely are not. Like Eleven's going to be voiced by somebody named Brooklyn Davy Norstedt, and Hopper's going to be voiced by Brett Gibson. So apparently it's mostly going to be new actors voicing the characters.
Thanks, Brent. I just want to make sure it doesn't get lost. Kevin committed to watching an animated show.
Check it out.
Big Stranger Things fan, he said.
Yes, it just shows you how much he loves Stranger Things. If he's going to do that.
I've come a long way. Me and animated have come a long way.
You have. And let's move on now to another universe that we love, the DC universe. And Brent's got some news about Wonder Man.
Well, it's not the DC universe. That's the Marvel universe.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Which is, I got to point that out. It's my favorite universe. But Wonder Man, we talked before. We showed a trailer or a teaser. This is another one, another kind of teasery thing that they've released. We talked before about how it looked like we didn't understand the superhero connection. Is there kind of superpower in here somewhere? Because it looked like it was an old TV show, and they were casting somebody to like revitalize the TV show, and it all seemed to be about casting a show and show production. We weren't quite sure where the connection was, but this one gave us a little hint towards the end that the new guy being cast for the Wonder Man role has some kind of power. It's just a little tease, a little hint. He makes some things shake. And the old, the old, character from Iron Man 2, I believe, that we originally thought, was the Ten Rings guy, but was not, was just a Shakespearean actor. He's in here as well. And he looks down at what's happening, and he seems a little surprised or concerned. So there might be something going on here. So I imagine there will be. It's going to premiere Wonder Man on January 26th. Of course, it's going to be on Disney Plus.
Yeah, a little more, like you said, naturally teaser info. So, I mean, I'm planning to check this show out. I mean, if it, starts out pretty interesting, I'm sure I'll stick with it. Not like I'm guaranteed to go all the way to the end, since we've had some real misses on some of these shows, Disney Plus shows. But, yeah, it's got some stuff that makes me go, okay, let's see what's going on here.
Yeah, I'm with you there, Kevin. The original trailer that we had talked about had me definitely intrigued. This one has me even more intrigued because of the confirmation that he has superpowers, even if they might be intermittent superpowers. And I also got, a better feeling for the lead coming out of this one. So I will definitely check it out. Not sure I'll stay for the whole thing if it takes a Moon Knight turn, but we'll see. And next up, Kevin's got news about a show that Brent and I used to watch, Outlander, and it's been a while though. So Kevin, what's new?
Yeah, and that's, part of what my lead-in was going to be. Not a show I've watched, but I do periodically see some folks mentioning it, in our Discord and social circles, and I know my co-host had checked it out. But for those who are fans of Outlander, as Wendy said, we found out, link in the show notes, that season 8 is going to be releasing on March the 6th.
And supposedly this is really, really the last season?
That's what they say.
Yeah. So that's great news, I guess, for Outlander fans.
Yeah, and I count myself as one of them. I really did enjoy it. I think the last season I watched was 3. I did really like the show. I really did. The only reason I stopped watching was because it became impossible for me to watch it. It was on a channel I didn't have for a couple seasons. And then by the time it got available to some degree on like Amazon Prime or something, some other place it became available that I actually had, but I was like 3 seasons behind. And I was like, I don't know if I have the time right now. So I do want to catch up. I do want to watch this. I'd like to be there for the final season.
Yeah, I had a similar challenge of no longer having Stars, and then similar to you, I think it was on Amazon, maybe Netflix, I'm not sure. Wherever it was, I do see it even now, and think, oh, I should catch up. But then it looks like, oh, there's a lot I need to catch up on. It's a little bit daunting. So I haven't started. Next up, Kevin is going to talk about a really cool documentary he found.
Yes, I am. It's called In Search of Tomorrow. And I know if you're a longtime listener to the podcast, you've heard me talk about this a couple of times over the years. This documentary initially came out, I think it's 2022. It was set up on Kickstarter. I was one of the supporters, so my name, along with hundreds of other people, are in the credits for having supported it back at the time and there. But the reason I'm mentioning it now is that it is now available for free on Tubi, if you don't mind watching some commercials, as all the content on Tubi is. But this is not genre TV related. These are genre movies. It's In Search of Tomorrow is a look back at 80s sci-fi and fantasy, and it is exceptionally well done. It is an outstanding documentary. I've watched it multiple times now over the years. And folks, it's close to 5 hours long. So it does not skimp. These are not little 10-second clips from well-known actors and directors and other folks. These are some deep looks at movies from each year in the 80s of sci-fi and fantasy. So it's fantastic. The folks that make these, a company called Creator VC, has also done In Search of Darkness, which was a look at 80s horror. And they've now started In Search of Darkness like 2 and 3, looking at 90s horror. They also did, and Brent can talk about it more, an excellent documentary that I just got a chance to watch on Tubi. First-person shooter, FPS, looking at gaming, too. So these folks know how to dive deep in lots of geek topics. It's definitely, even if you don't want to watch all 5 hours, worth taking a look just to see how, documentaries can be just exceptionally well made.
Very cool. I recall you talking about this in the past, and when you shared this, I was like, oh, this is very exciting. I like the idea that it's pretty long and you can sort of absorb it in chunks. Definitely on trend. So I'm looking forward to checking this out.
In Search of Tomorrow. Yeah, I might have even contributed to this one too. I don't remember because I think I have it. Or I have one of their documentaries about, actually the one I have is about TV, sci-fi TV. So it's probably not this one. But yeah, I contributed definitely to the first person shooter one. As soon as they announced it, I got my bundle, I got my posters and my DVDs, or my Blu-rays, pardon me, and all of that stuff. So I might even be in the credits on that one too. I don't know. But yeah, they make some good stuff. It's fun.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this company maybe just a few months ago too. They'd also recently released one called Aliens Expanded, which is again, same idea, maybe 3 hours long or something like that, looking at the Aliens film. And that one was excellent, not only just as a documentary, but they talked to, I swear, everyone who was in the film. And I was, you don't often find James Cameron talking in depth nowadays on interviews. And he's in here, Sigourney Weaver, almost everyone. So that's exceptionally well made. They're putting the final touches on one that's about The Thing from the 80s, Kurt Russell and all. So that one will be eventually coming out too. So when these folks, decide to cover something, man, they cover it well.
Very cool. And we are going to close out the water cooler with a tuner minute that Brent recorded titled To Be Continued.
With the recent news that Stargate is coming back as a continuation of the existing universe, I started to recall some shows many of us have wished would come back as well. Firefly and Farscape come straight to mind. A continuation, mind you, isn't a reboot. The show would know about its history and possibly even refer to it. A recent example is Quantum Leap, which acknowledged that the earlier show and characters existed. Even the return of Doctor Who in 2005 was a continuation of the show that had been canceled by the BBC in 1989. Doctor Who has often made references to the previous run of the show. A continuation need not feature the same characters and possibly none of the original cast, but if you had your choice of any show to continue, what would it be?
Oh, there are several that would run through my mind. Obviously, Wynonna Earp is going to be at the top of the list, likely, especially since we do have a continuation for Buffy coming now. Something like Lost Girl. I mean, I could go on for several other shows that really just, you'd love to see them explore that more. And it all does, as you pointed out, Brent, come back to the fact that while we'd love to have certain characters there too, if it's a continuation and it's been several years, You just have to hope the folks doing it, whether it be folks related or, involved from previously, or at least respecting what it is, allows us all to love that universe even more going forward.
I don't have one, but I have a couple. We know that Buffy's continuing. That would be on my list if we didn't already know that. The first one that popped in my head was Dark Matter, the show that we loved on Sci-Fi that got canceled too early. And the next one that came to mind was Xena, and then Farscape. And actually, I wouldn't even mind if we had a continuation of Supernatural.
Ooh, continuation of Supernatural. Interesting. Dark Matter, I'm right there with you, Wendy. Lost Girl would be cool. I would like to see a continuation. My pick, if I had to pick one, is I had a flash in my brain as I was writing this, and I said, I don't remember exactly how Continuum ended. Continuum was one of my favorite time travel shows. And I went back and watched the finale, and I realized this could definitely have a continuation. No real spoilers. It's an old show, but Kira did return to the future at some point and found out she never went back in time. So she was basically a redundant Kira in the future that was much more, peaceful and happy and than the one she left. And so I would like to know what she did next. Does time travel get involved again? Does she become a time agent or something? I would really love to see that show continued.
Yeah, that one was exceptional. Yeah. And it's now available on a couple of streaming services, folks. If you didn't watch it, this is one of the smartest sci-fi and definitely time travel shows we've had in the last 20 years. So great one to pick, Brent.
Yeah, that is a great pick. And so is Winona Earp, Kevin. I think that one could definitely go forward. I recommend Continuum and 12 Monkeys to people all the time. So that is going to close out the water cooler, and now we're going to head on over to the back porch.
Today we talk about Pluribus and Harley Quinn.
So first we're going to talk about Pluribus, which is the new show on Apple TV Plus. And I'm not going to go into a lot of details because frankly, there's a lot of details and it's a little bit confusing. But the premise of this show is that there's some kind of, I'll call it alien DNA that gets mixed up with humans. And this is one part of the show that I have a bit of a problem with, and I would like some more explaining to happen. But somehow the vast majority of humans, like everybody except 11 or 12 people, have been, I would say, converted into this hive kind of culture in which everyone knows everything in the world there is to know. And they are the people that they're in the bodies of, but they're also not the person whose body that they're in anymore. And I'll let Kevin, who's probably deep dived into the podcasts, fill me in on that a little bit more. But it's centered around this one particular person, Carol, who is one of these select people who has not basically been mutated. And she's living out in Arizona and really struggling, as you could imagine, to understand what is possible now in this new kind of world, because everyone else sees the people that were not, I'll call them assimilated, as missing out, and they're trying to figure out how to assimilate them. And some of those survivors are eagerly anticipating that. Carol is not one of them. And one of my challenges with this show is Carol is not the most nice and likable person on the planet. I wish the show had a little bit more humor in it than it currently has. But there's some really interesting and promising things that it's setting up. We have, of course, the typical testing the boundaries by Carol to understand the limits of what's possible in this universe. And it turns out that if you kind of overload the senses of the hive mind, that will literally shut them down, and she inadvertently kills like 11 million people by doing that. But she also can have anything she wants because this culture is only focused on trying to make her happy until they figure out how to assimilate her. So she asks for a grenade and she's given one, an alive grenade. So, safety doesn't, there's some things that strain credulity about this hive mind. If it's supposedly all the knowledge in the universe, and including the knowledge of very wise, expert people, for whatever reason, they're not listening to that part. So maybe their algorithm is messed up. But I'm going to stop talking so that others can talk. But that's why I only rated it as a watch it soon, because I'm struggling a little bit with the premise, and I'm struggling to really latch on to any of the characters.
Interesting. And that's a word I would probably ask me for one word on Pluribus. That's really what this concept is. I have gone deep in. I love this thing to death because this makes you think deeply. We're used to alien invasion stories, body snatchers, invasion of the body snatchers, war of the worlds. Most of the time when you have these situations where aliens are looking to take over the world, and there's, a small ragtag group that's, trying to save humanity or whatever, there's a battle. There's a bad guy. In this case, they're all super nice. They don't want anything bad to happen to you. If you weren't one of the assimilated, like Wendy said, there's only, I think it's 13 is what we've discovered now, people on the entire planet who are not been assimilated for what, and they don't understand why those folks weren't. There was a code, essentially the alien, whoever it was, entities, sent a series of information that turned out to be some type of a DNA string. And when they created it, they didn't realize that it's very much like a virus that can be easily transmitted by saliva, or in one episode we saw what looked like a lot of crop dusting, so to speak, at a very high level to get the stuff in the atmosphere for people to breathe it in. And we don't know why Carol and the other people are not assimilated yet, but it's all this super nice thing like, oh, it's okay, we'll do whatever you need, we want you to be happy, and we'll eventually figure it out and you'll become one of us. So that's very scary. And as Wendy said, Carol is not a nice person. It's not someone you root for. She's a bit of a curmudgeon and not very happy in being an author of romance novels that she doesn't even like, but she makes money at it, so she did it. But so she doesn't know how to deal with it. She lost her partner, who was one of the folks who died when this happened. A lot of people did die. As Wendy said, Carol at one point just gets very upset with kind of like a representative who's there to try to help her. And when she does that, these folks go into like convulsions, all of them, all over the world, billions. And when she had one of these little meltdowns with this woman, she ended up telling her that when she did that, like 11 million people died. So Carol's now got that on her conscience. But she doesn't want to give up. She wants to try to find a way to stop this or reverse it. She tries to get the aliens to bring in like all of the English speakers of the 13, figuring that if we get all these people together somewhere and we talk about it, we're all going to come to a plan. But most of the other people are like, hey, this is okay. Everybody else is happy in my life. One guy's kind of like using it to go get a bunch of women to follow him around and go to Vegas and do all kinds of fun stuff. Like, hey, eventually they're going to take me over. I might as well have fun. So it's a great situation to look at and say, how would I deal with this? What could I do? And Carol is trying to find out how to learn more if it can be reversed. And she's slowly learning things like that idea of the grenade, because at one point after she thought they were joking, like Wendy kind of alluded to, when they gave her, she just said it offhanded. Yeah, just give me a grenade. And they brought one to her because, again, they're almost like children to a certain degree. They don't fully understand the impact other than wanting to help Carol. So when the grenade went off and the representative that's been kind of with Carol got hurt, she felt bad for her. But that led to a conversation with another one of the representatives where Carol just kept pushing it. Well, would you give me a tank? Sure. Would you give me an atom bomb? well, we wouldn't want to, but we would. So now Carol is starting to think, okay, how can I use this? They're so good to me, to learn more. So I think that's fascinating as all get out. It's very interesting watching it. It's very creepy. Like Wendy said, what happens is it's a hive mind. So whatever anybody in the world knows, everybody in the world that's part of it knows. So it's very creepy. I mean, they can pop in and remind her of something that she enjoyed 20 years ago. The next door neighbor kids can tell her where she hid the key when she couldn't get in her house. It's freaky to that degree. And it's also a great, I mean, it's in some of the interviews, Vince Gilligan, the showrunner who did, tons of X-Files writing and also Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul. It's a great way of looking at the concept of this is a bit like what AI has become. AI can do almost anything, but it can't make good judgments to a certain degree. It can't tell you what's good or bad. It can just tell you what's good or bad about something. So it's very analysis-wise. I've gone deep with some great channels that look at a lot of the things from the colors to the camera angles to what it is. And I've been fascinated as all get out. I think it's 9 episodes in this first season. So we're almost halfway through. And I'm just wondering what's coming next. I mean, it's not action-packed. It won't be for everyone, but if you want to be thinking about sci-fi in the sense of what I might do in a scenario, I think this is outstanding.
Yeah, you talked about the surveillance aspect of this, and that's very much part of it. The one part of the show that I find promising is the relationship with Pirate Lady and what, as Carol is sort of testing the boundaries and trying to basically leverage this notion that they'll do anything for her, to find out how to destroy them. That part is intriguing. But I have to say, like, the part where she's calling the guy in Paraguay and we're watching the guy in Paraguay and he's eating dog food and resisting everyone around him. I mean, Kevin, what was your response to that? I was like, so that's why I say I've struggled with the show, because it's like, well, I don't really know anything about this guy. It kind of reminds me of The Walking Dead, where it's like, how low will you go? How what is left of humanity in some ways. So I'm curious about your thoughts about that, as well as the other people, because as you said, almost all the other people that she met up with had family members who had been mutated. So they were definitely had a different view than hers. She lost the only person she really had a connection to, and she's adamant that she doesn't want all the knowledge and memory that was in her partner to be part of that hive mind, or at least initially. That's her view, and that actually is one of the things, her grief is one of the things that kind of they overloads them at certain points. So I'm curious if your thoughts on any of that.
Yeah, see, the guy, I think is a perfect mirror of Carol, because he does. I mean, we see him in his tiny little office that he's living in. Apparently, he was at work at a self-storage place. He's put up cardboard over every window so no one can see in on him. There's someone who comes to the gate at his facility, leaves him a beautifully cooked meal. He doesn't trust him. He doesn't take it. He's eating, like you said, he's going around and opening the different storage units and finding like packets of sugar and dog food. And he definitely seems like a curmudgeon like her. So even when she tries to call him, because she can ask the hive mind, okay, who out there is like me? And he doesn't even want to talk to her. So I'm thinking they're eventually going to team up to a certain degree if they can get past the language difference. But it was just fascinating, again, that idea that if I was someone who was like this, and it's not like there's a large crew, 13 people in the whole world, you're so isolated. What would you do? How would you be able to deal with this? So seeing him for a few minutes was interesting to see if that's going to kind of come together. Because it's going to be fascinating. Because, the fact that she got, that idea where they gave her the grenade and she asked about getting an atom bomb and found out she would, I'm sure a light bulb went off then to how can I use that to my advantage? And in the most recent episode, when she asked, quote unquote, nickname of Pirate Lady, can this be reversed? She got a non-answer. So she knew that was an answer.
Yes.
If it couldn't, you would have said that. So now she knows there is a way, and how can she discover it? So it's like every episode, she's learning just a little bit more that might help her to get to that point. So it's interesting as all hell. And I just loved when she tried to go to the grocery store to get herself some food, to make herself some dinner. The whole store is empty because they very smartly realize, well, we don't need food in all these different locations now. We'll create more of a distribution system. So she gets upset, and they send in 8 semis and like 50 people to restock the whole store. And she only cooks a TV dinner that night. Cause, it's like,
and
she's like doing an FU
actually,
to him.
Yeah. Well, that was actually one of the points where I was like, this doesn't make any sense. If they are actually intelligent enough to realize we don't need to stock every grocery store, they would also be intelligent enough to know what was a reasonable amount to stock for one person, for,
but use that
a week at a time. But
use that as an analogy to AI. This is kind of what Gilligan's getting across is it knows stuff, but it doesn't really know the common sense stuff a lot of times. To your point,
but I do think that it also is showing us the world we live in today, which is the excess of it all. And that the only thing, it believes that the only thing you need is, quote, happiness, whatever it is that makes you happy.
And she's not. So it's such a contradiction.
Miserable. She's miserable.
That's why I say, so it's like you don't want to root for her, but she's the only person in the United States that our whole hopes are lasting on. So, I mean, that's why I say it's fascinating to me in that sense. So it's not your average show,
Yeah. It's like I said, I tend to need to like a character. I kind of like Pirate Lady more than Carol, for sure. And I'm hoping that actually somehow that is going to pay off, because, that she is kind of not just her access point to, I'll call it the hive, but, I think she does see somehow a unique person in there too. So I will keep watching for sure.
Definitely after she had the truth serum.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's like I say, very, very thought provoking.
Yes. Definitely different. So next up, Kevin is going to catch us up on his Harley Quinn watch. Excuse me.
Yeah, as longtime listeners know, and as I even teased a little earlier in the podcast, you folks know animation hasn't been my thing, but Harley Quinn has been a blast. I'm so glad I took the advice of my co-hosts and others, definitely in our Discord. Because I'm now up through, since I last spoke about it, I was through season 2. I've now finished season 4. So I've only got season 5 left. And this show, those of you who've seen it know, I mean, along with the humor, they just have fun with these crazy storylines. I mean, making Harley a hero for most of season 3, dealing with the whole Bat Gang and all those things and problems that came up was a lot of fun. I had someone on the Discord mentioning that to be sure to watch the Valentine's Day special, that was, took place apparently after season 3. Interesting thing that I found out that episode is not available on HBO Max. I have my HBO Max subscription through Amazon, but that episode isn't available or isn't included. I had to pay like $2 for it as its own little standalone thing. Annoying, but fine. It was a good episode. I enjoyed that one. That was a lot of fun. With both, Harley and Ivy, and their back and forth was great. And, season 4 also had a ton of great stuff. The daughter in the future episode, and them dealing with that. They had that whole episode with Bane and his search for the perfect pasta maker part and all. I mean, I love that it can just go on these side stories. Clayface and other stuff was there. Joker kind of being bad, then good, then bad, and back and forth. So it's been a blast. I'm sure I'm going to have season 5 finished within the next few weeks, and then anxiously waiting for it to come back like all of you.
Yay! I'm so happy that you found Harley Quinn and see what we see. That's awesome.
Bane is a superhero in that show. I love every time he's in any scene. He's just amazing. He's hilarious.
Yes.
And question for you, Kevin. I'm sorry, I was still distracted because I kind of tuned out for the discussion or of the previous show, and I missed what episode did you have to pay for?
The Valentine's Day special.
Oh,
that was done like between seasons.
Right. When it came out, it was available on HBO Max. That's weird that they're now charging for it.
And again, I don't know if that's because, again, my Max subscription is through Amazon.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
I get it through Amazon too.
Oh, well, that was odd. I looked at the episode, like guides and listings, IMDb and other places, and it listed that season. I think season 3 has 11 episodes, but
I might be wrong. Now that I think about it, I think I get HBO through Hulu because I have Hulu Live TV and I subscribe to HBO there. I think I could be wrong. So maybe I got it that way. I don't know. That's
like cool. I say, a little annoying, but again, I saw that it was like a 44-minute episode, and folks were commenting how fun it was, and it was. So it wasn't. I mean, $2 isn't going to kill me, but it was a little annoying.
Cool.
But otherwise, yeah, just zipping right through it, and it's a lot of fun. I'm actually feeling a little bad that I'm now at the beginning of season 5 and only have 9 episodes left to be caught up.
Yep, that happens. Absolutely. Well, we are all caught up, and that means we're at the end of the show. Before we go, I want to say thank you to everyone who's listening. We're coming up on Thanksgiving, and I am absolutely grateful to the time we get to spend talking with Brent and Kevin and sharing with you all this fun genre television. We appreciate you a lot, and we'll see you soon.
See you on the Discord, and catch you next time.
Take care, everyone.
If you'd like to contact Tuning Into Sci-Fi TV, we offer a variety of feedback options, including email at feedback@tuningintoscifitv.com, voicemail at 706-927-8478, Skype voicemail at Tuning Into Sci-Fi TV, or you can visit our website at tuningintoscifitv.com and use the SpeakPipe app or our forums. And finally, you can find us on Twitter at twitter.com/tuningintosci-fi or on Facebook at facebook.com/tuningintosci-fi TV. The theme music for Tuning Into Sci-Fi TV is by Beatnik Turtle, used with permission. You've been listening to Tuning Into Sci-Fi TV, episode 681, recorded November 23rd, 2025.